Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. This is Monica, Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV. And for those of you who are listening on YouTube Live, or for those of you who are watching the recording, I just want to express my utmost gratitude for your time, for your energy, for your attention being here. I know there's a lot competing for it right now, but I promise we're going to deliver really value to you with our outstanding guest that we have today. So Empower TV is dedicated to bringing you outstanding leaders, thinkers, pioneers, and change makers in the area of individual and community health. And the single focus of this program is to bring you inspiration to take action and empower yourself. And today's guest, I know she will bring you not just inspiration, but practical tools, skills, and ways to move forward in the area of marketing, business, and forming strategic partnerships. So I cannot wait for what she's going to offer us. So let's welcome Alithia Gallegos. She is a Master Business Strategist who led the marketing and legal departments for a multi-million-dollar tech startup, during which she negotiated multiple deals with partners and vendors that helped move the company forward. Her love and fascination with marketing and business spans over 2 decades, and she's continuously learning to increase her mastery. She is the CEO of Sonoma JV Partners, joint venture partners, offering business owners a path to increase their sales and profits without increasing overhead through the power of strategic partnering. She hosts the Life and Business Mastery podcast, where everyday business heroes share their wisdom, habits, and hacks to equip listeners with the tools they need to experience more impact, greater freedom, and better results in their life and business. And what Alithia also wants us to know that she loves spending time in nature, and it's one of her favorite ways to refresh, recharge, renew her soul. And having enjoyed 6 months laptop lifestyle in Costa Rica, she recently moved to Colorado to Denver with her best friend and husband of 9 years. And right now, as they continue to grow their business, they also always look to find ways to serve their community. So welcome, Alithia. With her depth and of experience and knowledge, I cannot hear from you. I cannot wait to hear from you, and so grateful for your time. Welcome.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you. I am just grateful to you that you would even do these, invite me on and do these series and share this kind of wisdom with people. It's really important, especially right now. And so I'm just very honored.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, we are here to bring value, and you are, who else if people who have this amazing experience and knowledge within business, within marketing, within forming partnerships. I think this is something that we all need to learn about. So I really appreciate your presence and you sharing your wisdom today with us. So, well, welcome again. And so,
thank you.
So what's present to you?
I am just grateful for technology. I'm grateful that we can actually stay connected. I know they talk about social distancing, but I don't see it as social distancing. I think we're getting more connected than we ever have been, and I'm just really grateful for that.
Wonderful. Yes, we are getting more connected. And so I invited you here to, really give you a platform to talk about your expertise and your knowledge and help our listeners to within this time frame that we are in and those challenges to actually move forward and use this time as resource, as something that nudges and pushes us forward rather than stepping back and connecting more, because I know you're all about connection. So tell us more about what do you do? What is your work all about?
So I do joint venture brokering, and I say that sometimes when people, they have no clue. And it's interesting because when I tell people that I'm a joint venture broker, I've got my own company that does that. They kind of make up their own thing in their mind of like, oh, I need this aspect in my business. So like, I think you can feel that aspect, right? But just in the simplest terms of what joint ventures are and what that is just company A has a great product or service. Company B has the perfect audience for company A, and those two come together. And when they do a deal, when they, do promotions, when they do events together, we would get paid on the back end for that. So it's like when two great companies, two great organizations, two great people or more come together for the benefit of their audience and their customers.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you're all about bringing the value together and then multiplying it in really a huge way.
Yes.
So wonderful. Thank you so much. And I think you're right. A lot of us, we don't really understand what joint ventures are, but they sound very appealing and very attractive.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So tell us more about, your company and how you work with people.
Absolutely. It was funny when I first started doing this, I was just trying to get experience. And when you tell people that you can help them, get more customers, have more profits for zero upfront expense, zero risk, pretty much, they get very excited, and pretty much everybody says yes to you. So early on, I was picking all of the wrong clients and just trying to get some experience and things like that. And I found that people weren't JV ready, and I can go into that a little bit later, what JV ready means and what's included in that. But I found I did a lot of free business consulting, and it helped me to get a lot of clarity on like the kind of clients I want to work with, the kind of things I want to be doing, where my strategic mind works best and stuff like that. And so where I really like to focus in on is on personal and professional development, those industries. And so like coaching, consulting, sales training, different aspects like that, and then matching them up with great customers.
Wow. So you're a real strategist for people. And maybe, can you tell us how does it look like if somebody approaches you and they may be a business owner and they really sort of don't really know how to even start creating partnerships?
Yeah, like how do you first, what do you look for and stuff like that? Absolutely.
Yeah, so how do you start even working with people who have not much experience within this area?
So there's some things that you want to include in any kind of joint venture deal that you do. Like you want it to be win-win-win. For me, I'm very picky on who I work with now, like because you could offer anything, but you want to offer something that's like in the highest and best use or highest and best purpose for your customers. And so I really look for great companies, great people, people that are aligned. Like if I'm going to match two companies up together, their mission, their purpose, their culture, they need to be a good match, right? If someone's, even the tone and personality that they have and how they communicate with their audience can be very different. Someone can be very direct and almost brash, and then another can be very heartfelt. It wouldn't match to connect those two together, even though they may serve the same audience and have great products for each other. You also have to look at the fit in the culture and their overall mission and their goals. So one simple way to do it, or one thing to consider, is whenever you're looking to, say you do have someone, say you have someone that you just absolutely love and enjoy their product or their service or who they are as a company or person, you know what, I want to work with this person. Well, what you do is you look at what, say their customers, say they have a product, what do those customers buy immediately before or immediately after they buy that person's product? And so those would make great joint venture partners. So that's one thing, is just look at like where in the continuum of that customer journey are they, who can help them before, after, you start matching those people up. Again, that win-win-win mentality of both parties, like it should be equal, like they should both be getting something of high value, both of those partners that you're bringing together, both of those companies. So like you don't want one to be taking advantage of the other, you want them to be nicely matched, where both of them get something wonderful from it. A lot of times that's profit sharing, sometimes that's just extra audience exposure, and then you want the audience to win too, right? You want the customers to win, so that's the win-win-win mentality. There's also a concept of like, you don't always want to swing for like hitting a home run, especially when you're starting out. Like you kind of want to get some base hits in there. So if you have a company that maybe has an audience of 1,000 people, and you're trying to match them up with another company that has an audience of 1 million people, it might be hard to convey to the larger organization the true value that the smaller organization is bringing. So you kind of want them to be kind of evenly matched, or maybe just a little bit above or a little bit below, unless they're like coming out with a rock star product or something that you know is just going to add tremendous value. And so those are just a few things just off the top of my mind that you want to kind of start to think about before you start putting these deals together.
Wow. You know what really stands out for me is that win-win mentality, because you really approach it from like, what is actually going to bring value to everybody. It's not about competing and trying to beat another person. It's actually making us together, making us stronger and more valuable, and increasing our value because we join together. This is a different way of looking at business.
Yeah, it is no longer a competition. And I think that's an old kind of mentality, right? You have a competition. I need to one up them. I need to beat them. I need to get ahead of them. This is like, you can exponentially expand both of your heroic identities, your value, and just truly serve your audience when you do it together. And you can do it very seamlessly, very elegantly, and the customers appreciate it. And then you end up getting a brand new business relationship that is there for the long term.
Wow. I mean, it does create a more beautiful overall situation for everybody, for the businesses and customers. And so, you know, and so many things stand out for me from what you say. This perspective, that's a larger perspective on how we treat each other on different levels, but also, you know, your mind as a strategist and having to match all those different details. And I can only imagine it takes a huge capacity to be able to do that, and orientation to detail. So can you tell us more about how did you arrive at this point of being so successful within this industry?
Well, successful is a relative term. I would definitely say that I am growing in this, but I just have such a love and a passion for it. It's just, you know, I've studied from some of the great minds in this industry, like Jay Abraham. He is just an icon, and he's done over $1 billion for his customers. And he was somebody that, you know, just started to help me think outside the box. Like, he would take something that works amazingly well in one industry and apply it to a completely other industry that has never done that before. And just, you know, just learning from people like that has really helped me along my way. And I think right now that's a really important thing, because like, I don't think we're going to come out of the quarantine the same. And I think the world has forever changed in how we interact with each other, how we do business with each other, how we show up in life with each other. And I think there's a real opportunity right now to think outside the box and start to apply things and do things in a much more strategic way, but a much more intentional way. And with that, like one thing that I've really noticed over the last month or so is that there's just a heart to serve and a heart to give. Like, there's companies giving away free products. There's people joining in together to fundraise for the hospital workers and stuff. Like, there's just been a total shift away from that drive more mentality towards, like, these are our fellow humans. People are suffering. We need help. We have something that we can offer. And I think that coming out of this, we're going to still hang on to that mentality. And there's a real opportunity to just think completely differently, think in a collaborative way that just ultimately serves the best interest of the audience, the customers, the people you're working with. And joint ventures, strategic partnering is an excellent, excellent way to do that.
Wow. Yes. And so how do you help people actually to shift that mentality? Even, you know, I know that we are all shifting. I think it's collective, like you say, and the circumstances brought it up for many people to be more of service and more in collaboration. And yet, you know, it's sort of like we probably are sort of halfway through, you know, one foot in the old paradigm, one foot in the new paradigm. So how do you help people to shift and make that leap?
You know, I find that like, there's some things that are truly important to people. Like, I'm such a heartfelt person, and so I love to lead with my heart. I love to lead with, like, service of others and those kind of things. But there's other people that are more maybe business-minded, bottom line, dollar-minded, profit-minded, those kind of things. And so the nice thing, the really great thing about strategic partnering, joint ventures, ecosystem merging, is it can bring massive scale, massive exposure, massive increase in growth in their business and their clientele. And so you can speak to their fear or their need of, like, sustaining their business or growing their business or expanding their business or getting more market share, you can speak to that with the whole intention and application of how you do it is the heartfelt, is the greater impact, is like I can merge the two together. So I find, because if I was just on the side of let's all hold hands and come together for each other in the betterment of the world, you're going to miss some people and not going to get it. And so I think being able to speak, real dollars and cents and real possibility and growth leaves the door open to, and this is how we do it. So I think that's how, you can start to shift minds for people that maybe haven't caught up yet.
Yeah, so communication and understanding where the other person comes from in terms of their value and their background.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Wow. That makes so much sense. So it's almost like we are shifting into the era of communication and respecting our differences, and then capitalizing on the differences as we come together and expand our value.
It's a great way to put it. I haven't looked at it that way, but it's the differences that makes it valuable, right? Because if you're both doing the same thing, there's not really a need for you to come together. But it's like celebrating those differences and going, instead of seeing you as the opposition or the competitor, like how can we make this beautiful for everybody?
Wow. Yes. And we have to use different language because for some business people, maybe using the word beautiful may not resonate as much, right?
Not at all. But with you, I think that does. So.
Yes, it resonates with me, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, it's wonderful. I mean, I really appreciate your just ability to manage different areas and bring them together and manage different skills. And skill sets, because it's communication and it's also the business mindset and understanding the industries. I mean, I can only imagine how much it takes to bring it all together and be that strategist. But what I feel is coming through for me is that you truly are a visionary and looking into the future and where our industries and businesses are going. And can you tell us more? What drives you? Where do you see things going in the future, even beyond the whole situation now?
Well, like right now, I feel like we're hitting a season of acceleration. I feel like there's a season of acceleration, a season of momentum, and we have a choice right now. We can choose to scale back. We can choose to play it safe. We can choose to wait, or we can choose to jump in. Like think about, okay, how could I be shifting and moving my company to take advantage of this in just a very strategic way, a very intentional way, those kind of things. But I think that the future is going to, like I said, it's going to be a lot more collaboration, a lot more, it's not going to be so cut and dry, like this is business and this is family, or this is for money and this is for heart. Like, I think there's just going to be so much more merging and fusion of those things where it's more of a holistic offering, a holistic, I think there's companies now that are called like benefit companies. It's actually a designation that they have where they're benefiting the customers, the stockholders, and the employees, and the environment. Like it's like a real shift towards that. And I think going through something like this just reinforces that kind of mentality, and there'll probably be more people joining in and stuff like that.
Wow, that's very interesting. Would you be interested in telling us a little more about those different kinds of companies and how they fit into a larger, picture?
I don't know a lot about them, but I have come across a couple of them, and it's like they use sustainable product sourcing. They're not taking advantage of the people that they're sourcing their materials from. They're mindful of their employees' health and well-being. So they're not working them long hours, or maybe they're letting them bring their dogs to work or work from home with their family. They're also obviously mindful of the stockholders because they're the ones that have invested in the company, and they're doing it to see a return. They're also, of course, you don't have a company unless you can serve your customers. So they have a high intention, high integrity for serving their customers. But then there's also like the impact not only on like sourcing their materials sustainably and fairly and ethically, but also the impact that they have on the world, like on the environment. Like, are they doing it in a manner that is destroying the rainforest, or are they doing it in a manner where they're replanting trees and different things like that? So I don't know a lot about it, But I do know that
Right.
just in the last few years, companies have been getting like, it's called a B. It's like a B designation for benefit company. And I could definitely see that just taking off. And even like banks and stuff like that are starting to get that kind of designation. And it's like, because a lot of times, you're investing in something for a profit, right? When you do stock market investing or mutual funds and stuff like that. And the financial institutions haven't always been held accountable for where they put that money, where they invest that money. They've been so focused on the profit side of it, of how can I get the biggest returns for my customers, or else they're going to go to somebody else. They haven't been as mindful and as focused on, am I doing child slavery for manufacturing? Am I destroying the economy for a country because we're requiring them to give us the goods at such a low cost that's not sustainable for them? So now there's, I think, even like banks that are becoming a benefit organization where they're being very ethical about the kind of things that they invest in. So they're looking for profit for their customers, as well as, doing better for the environment and for people versus taking advantage of them.
Wow. I mean, that sounds really exciting. And I think just knowing that, this is where we're moving into while still preserving that, same mind of business where we're not just becoming sort of airy-fairy. But do you see that, joint venture the practice and idea is actually really something that can bring those two worlds together even closer?
Joint ventures are like the ultimate best business strategy, social cause strategy, human trafficking strategy. Like, it's the best vehicle ever for anything related to like influencing people, getting a greater scale and outcome. Like, you can apply it to everything. And so yes, absolutely. Like, even one of the people that was on Unblinded's Morning Huddles and Real Raws, which I know that you're very familiar with, Courtney Epps. She essentially stood in the joint venture role. She stood in the strategic partnering facilitation role, and she brought together, I think it was Underground Railroad with, I forget the name of the organization, but it's MANA. I think it's like, so there's one organization that feeds children, and there's another organization that rescues them from sex trafficking. She actually facilitated a conversation between those two, and now they're going to be working together. That is an example of someone stepping in, seeing a need, having a heart for both of those causes, and saying, I know both of those people, they would be better off working together, and they could do so much more together. I'm going to facilitate that conversation. I don't think that she got anything out of it aside from she knows that there's going to be so many more children helped, and that those two organizations are incredibly powerful, and they have different things that they excel at. And so when they come together, they can kind of cross-pollinate and help each other excel in areas that they hadn't imagined. So it's just beautiful.
Wow, that's absolutely fascinating. And just thank you for sharing all those visions, because, I think we all need to know more and more about what's going on out there. And that there's so many initiatives and so many different ways of approaching business, and it's a win-win for everybody. It does not involve being poor. It actually involves making more money, but making more money in integrity. And I really so appreciate you bringing this vision forward here. Wow. So what do you feel, what are the challenges right now with those visions and with joint ventures?
Well, part of the challenge is, like, I can speak to myself, and then just joint ventures in general. I mean, they can go sideways really fast because money can get involved, greed can get involved, egos can get involved. And so, like, I've had a number of deals that are like at the final hour, they're ready to cut the check, and they've just disintegrated like before my eyes. Like, one time we were supposed to help bring $10 million of funding to an organization that's doing incredible things in the world with helping people to heal cancer and heal multiple sclerosis and all kinds of significant diseases. We're in that final hour, the letter of intent has been issued and stuff like that, and just disintegrate before your eyes. And it's, part of it is you need to really do your due diligence. You need to know who you're working with, because people can, we just like to, or at least I like to see the best in people. And so I've learned that I need to really be sure about who I'm partnering with, and their integrity and their ability to deliver on what they promise, that they've got just a really high quality solution for whoever I'm going to connect them with. So really making sure that you do your due diligence. Don't just take it at face value. Everybody wants to present themselves in a great light. You need to go and do your due diligence. Be mindful of the egos, and be mindful that greed and money can come into play, and they can make the process of coming to a fair agreement and a fair relationship a little more challenging. Like one thing, like the difference between someone just being a referral partner and someone being a joint venture partner is that you can actually stand in on those meetings and facilitate those meetings. Like when I bring two parties together, I really like to attend those meetings, help to like see that through to fruition. And like I represent both sides a lot of times. Like I can put myself in the shoes of both parties and say, okay, what's going to be in the best interest of company A, what's going to be in the best interest of company B, and how can we do this in a manner where they're both winning, you know, the customers are winning, versus it being like lopsided and one party taking advantage of the other. So I can really speak to like pathways forward and things that maybe they didn't think of how to facilitate it, how to implement it. It's going to just really be just a home run for everybody. So those are some of the things that can get in the way, and I mean, they take time too. So the larger the organizations, they can take time. So one thing that people can get tripped up on is they can think, okay, awesome, I'm excited. I want to start connecting people. I want to start doing joint ventures, you know, forming strategic partnerships. And they can have the misconception that it's fast and easy. Because it, you know, it sounds fast and easy. Oh, I just connect this person with this person and then it's done, right? But the reality is they have different timing of things. They've got things in their roadmap, their product roadmap or their marketing roadmap, or they just need to really dig in and do their due diligence and be comfortable with that other party. Like I have two customers that are two clients that I represent, and they've been talking for a couple of years, and it's only this month where they've agreed to do a JV webinar together to serve one of the clients, plastic surgeons and dentists. So it's taken years, but it's worth it, right? Like this is really about a relationship business, and it's about being in this for the long term, really keeping the integrity at the forefront, the best interests of all parties at the forefront, and just being patient and continuing to show up and follow up.
Wow, yes. I mean, taking that patient and really doing the due diligence and research, and not just assuming everybody just loves to connect with everybody, because that's not realistic.
Or that everybody has ethical business practices.
Yes. So there's boundaries, right?
Boundaries, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful. And you know, I do want to ask you about your podcast, because I know you are doing another project, and I would love to hear about how does that flow into your joint venture expertise and business. And if you could, you know,
absolutely.
tell us more. About it.
I would love to tell you about the podcast and how that's working with everything else.
Yes.
I do want to get back into the joint ventures and give some examples and stuff like that.
Okay. Yes. And if you want to, if you want to continue talking about joint ventures, please go ahead.
No, we can definitely circle back, because I'm being very, I have my joint venture strategic hat on when I created the podcast. So yes. So like you mentioned, this is a podcast. It's called Life and Business Mastery. It's launching at the end of this month. I've already done a few recordings and stuff like that. Super excited, much like yourself, right? You get to talk to these amazing people, learn all about them and what they're doing and what makes it tick, what makes it work. So it's been very fun. But you know, part of the reason why I got into this, so one of the core things about the show, it's not just, you know, stories. It's not just learning from cool people. It's like, I want to give people hard-hitting, strategic things so that they can really move their life forward. And if they love one of my guests, I want them to go learn more. Like I want them to go work with them. I want them to go partner with them. I want them to go learn from them, buy their products, you know, that kind of thing. So like, I see this as like a gateway into a deeper relationship with people that they may not have known about before. So I love that aspect of it. And, you know, my love for personal development, my love for learning from great minds came at a very young age. Well, I think I was into that in my teenage years, but it really started to kick in when I was 18. I was dating a man that I later married, and it just wasn't very healthy. You know, he struggled with narcissism. He was a sex addict, and that unhealthiness just trickled into our marriage. And so, at a very young age, I had a choice. You know, I could continue down a very destructive pathway, or I could look at what I could do myself. And so I realized at that young age that the only thing that I am in control of is me. And so I had a choice. And so I chose to dive into personal development, self-development, and just start to apply those things. And I realized that as I started applying those things, my whole world started to change. And I started to change. Like I started to change inside what I believed, what I thought was possible. You know, just understanding the psychology of how we make decisions and how we can set up our life to really succeed and win. And so that was very beautiful for me. You know, unfortunately, my former marriage did not work out. But today I am so grateful because I've married my best friend in the love of my life. So where I'm at today in my marriage and my relationship is absolutely just a dream. And I love that. So it's been like my life has been shaped by learning from the greatest minds in our world. And so I wanted to give that gift back to the people of our generation, the people of our era, to learn from people that maybe they didn't know about and to be able to go dive deeper into that. So that's why I started the podcast.
Wow. I mean, it really is amazing how you brought this deep wisdom and understanding from your own personal experience, and then learning and really taking steps, taking action to switch your own mindset. So now you can bring it to other people.
Yes.
Through business and through podcasts and through sharing wisdom.
Absolutely.
Yes. I mean, it's really, this is amazing that, you know, we really are responsible for ourselves, as you say.
Yeah.
So, and you're the example of it, you know,
yeah, like
and turning it around.
I think everybody has a story. I think everybody, if you've lived any amount of time in this world, you've been hurt, you've been traumatized, you've been abused to some levels, you know, you've gone through atrocities. And it's really how we heal from those. Like, it's not just how we move forward, like it's really how we self-assess and heal. And then from there, how we choose to move forward and interact with the world.
Yes. Wow. That's where we have the responsibility. And that's where we have the power.
Yes.
Like we talk about empowering yourself, and there's many different arenas that we do empower ourselves. But part of it is how do we respond to challenges?
Yes.
And seeing, like you did, you know, that I have a power to actually learn and get the resources, and then I can share them with others.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, yeah, and that it just tells us about the depth of your commitment to what you do, and probably why you are successful.
I think it's more like a love. Like I'm just
love.
fascinated by it. Like I've seen the change in my life and the change in others' lives, and so I'm excited to share that with others.
Yeah, wow. So it's about the love for people, or seeing them thrive. Wow.
Definitely.
So,
and you originally asked, like, how does podcasting match up with
yes,
which is actually a very very, very great question, and not a lot of people would ask that. And so just you know, I just acknowledge your business sense and your understanding to recognize that that I can merge those two together. Yeah. And I think I found like close to 7 or 10 different ways that I can use joint ventures through my podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, which has been super fun. So I don't know if I'll remember all of them here, but it's like a playground for joint ventures, and it's just fantastic and fascinating. So, you know, my podcast, it's Life and Business Mastery. It's all about how to have more impact, more freedom, and get better results in your life and your business. And I've repositioned it slightly to have it for people specifically looking to start and grow a 7 to 8 figure business. And the reason that I did that is that excludes a lot of people. But I mean, when you include start, you know, everyone's on their journey somewhere, but ultimately they have a vision for getting to those 7 and 8 figures and beyond. And part of the reason that I did that is because that's my clientele. You know, my clientele are organizations and people that play at that level and are in that arena. And so this allows me to develop relationships and to, bring people on and showcase people and feature people that would make great partners for my existing clientele. And so now I'm creating a whole ecosystem at that level of people that have that skill, have that knowledge, have that wisdom, are teaching and training others to do the same thing, or they're just excelling at that themselves. And so now I've got, like, I'm starting to build that network of people that I can plug into each other. And I can help them grow themselves. So that's one level. So it's very intentional about, like, who do I want in my audience and who do I want to feature on my podcast? That's one. And another is, when I ask someone to come on the podcast, I always ask them a couple of things. I ask them if they have a free gift, because that is like, you're instilling reciprocity with your audience. You're giving them something of high value, and it makes the person on the show look fantastic because they're giving this gift of their time, their wisdom, their energy that they poured themselves into, and they're giving it away for free. As a thank you for them listening, and as just helping them to excel further in their pathway. And so I always ask them if they have a free gift, and then so that's a way for them to get more clients, start to get more exposure, those kind of things. But it's also like, I ask, I often develop strategic relationships with my guests as well. So I become somebody that represents them. And so when they offer a free gift or when they talk about their program, when I put it in the show notes, that's my, affiliate link or my referral link that goes into there, so that when people do start that journey with that person, they're linked back and tied to me, is one of the ways. So I ask them about a free gift. I ask them about if there's any kind of training or products that they would like me to consider featuring. And for this, I make sure that it's something that makes sense. Like, for this, I make sure it makes sense for my audience. I'm not just going to promote it or allow them to have the stage to talk about that if it doesn't make sense. So it needs to be, again, high value, high integrity, high results, and it needs to match up with my audience. Otherwise, I ask the question, but I don't always offer that up. Those are a couple of ways. And then in my, I also ask them what tools and resources that they use in their business to grow their business, scale their business, run their business. And a lot of times those tools like ClickFunnels or, just a whole thousands of tools. A lot of times they have affiliate programs. So when my guest is talking about what they use to grow their business, I'm able to, again, in the show notes or the overviews and stuff like that, I'm able to put those links, my affiliate links, to help the audience go, okay, I've been missing this piece. I've been talking to everybody trying to figure this one thing out, and this person who's already figured it out and they're using it and they've told me how they apply it. This is awesome. I'm going to go and purchase that.
Wow.
So another way. I'm also creating a resources page. So with my podcast, I also have a website. And so people can subscribe. I'm just starting to put those things in place. But on my website, there's going to be a resources page, which is specific for people looking to start and grow a 7 to 8 figure business. And I'm going to keep it more geared towards people that are in the personal and professional development industries, online businesses, information product businesses. And I'm going to go, okay, well, what do they need? What are the core, 5 categories that they need to make sure that they're doing rock solid in their business? And then what solutions are within each of those categories? And do they have an affiliate program or not? If they do, then I would sign up for that and put my links in there. If they don't, I'm going to put the best products on that resources page, because my intention isn't how much money can I make. My intention is, how can I serve my audience at the highest level? Right. How can I give them what is going to be the absolute best for their business, whether I get paid or not? But there are going to be plenty of things that I get paid for, and there's going to be plenty of things that I don't. So the resources page is another one. I'm also creating a page for each of my guests. So when my guests share a free gift, when my guests do, where it makes sense for them to talk about their product or their solution, I'm actually going to have a separate page that lists all of my guests, every single free gift that they've given, and every single program that's associated with those people. Yes. So both of those will be on my website. And so when I'm talking in the show, you always bring people back to those pages. So instead of saying, I may say, go to themasterypodcast.com/Monica. Or what I will do more often is say, go to themasterypodcast.com / I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but / resources or / speakers or guests or something like that. And then it's going to list everything. So I just continually like guide people back to that master list, because they may be looking for Monica's product, but then they're going to find John's product as well, and they want both.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So those are, and then I'm inviting people, like I said, I'm inviting people onto the podcast that I can do business with outside of podcasting in a joint venture arena. And so I'm inviting people on there that are specifically great partners, joint venture partners, great clients for my existing joint venture clients. And so now I've showcased them as the hero. I've given them a stage and a microphone and an audience. I've helped to promote their product because I'm allowing them to offer their free gift, or I'm letting them talk about their paid program if it makes sense. And there's some level of goodwill and reciprocity that's developed from that. And then I can, when appropriate, have a conversation and introduce them to my other clients. So that's another way. That's a bunch of ways. I'll
Wow. Wow. I mean, this is brilliant. It's really brilliant, because you really have a very strong strategy in terms of how to use your podcast to the best for yourself, for your audience, for the guests, for everybody. It's really providing value that way through strategic thinking, right?
It is, absolutely. And I was very intentional because it's such a huge amount of time. I'm like, and I'm another way that I'm leveraging those strategic relationships is I'm featuring one of my joint venture clients as an advertisement at the beginning of my podcast. And so one of my best joint venture clients is going to have that featured spot. Normally companies pay for that, but for me, I want them to get that extra exposure, that extra awareness. So that's another way that I'm adding that.
Yeah. Wow. So there's intentionality. I think that's really stands out. That you're intentional with every step that you take, with every action that you take. It's not just doing something to do it. It's actually with the bigger goal in mind and the bigger vision.
Absolutely. And just to give you like a peek behind the curtains for the back end of that. So that's all front end stuff. That's all front end intentionality and being very strategic about it. The back end stuff of that is within 24 hours of having a guest on the show, I send them a personal video that I created to thank them. Like just saying what you gave and your time and who you are is valuable to me. And so I give that to them within 24 hours. And then I haven't quite figured this piece out, but I have a back end value added series where I try to, just out of complete wanting to help them, who can I introduce them to? How can I promote them? Like, how can I add value to them? And I have like, again, I'm still working on it, but like at least 3 different ways or more that I right off the bat start to add value to that person that was on the show. And then when the show does come out, I'm repurposing that content. So I'm not just putting it onto like SoundCloud or iTunes or stuff like that. I'm actually creating collateral for them. Like I'm making it easy for them. I'm converting it into video for YouTube. I'm giving them multiple different ways that they can promote it themselves so that they can share this content with their audience. And just all these little touch points, which is why it takes a long time, way more than I was expecting. But just from before they enter the show to after the show to ongoing, I want them to feel special. I want them to feel valued. I want to help their business grow. I want my other clients to be able to experience them. So it's like joint ventures is like a lot of like connections, a lot of like weaving things in and tying things in.
Wow, this is fascinating. I think that, for those who are watching it, this is huge because, we are getting amazing value from you right now.
Thank you.
To understand that everything can be intentional and I'm learning so much. Thank you so much, because it's like everything that we do is, if it's intentional, it leads to a greater purpose and it actually produces results. And we are in control of those results as well. And what comes up for me, you talk about working with people on higher level of income with 7-8 figures, and it's not just the money, it's the mindset, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us more about what distinguishes that mindset?
You know, they've had to go through their own stuff.
Yeah.
When you become an entrepreneur, it's like having kids. So it's like a great big mirror that's in front of your face of like all of your fears, all of your flaws, all of your dreams and desires, and like all of your like habits that sabotage you. And so like you have to get to those levels and sustain those levels, you have to work through a lot of your stuff. And I mean, we're forever working through our stuff, right? Like that's just for the rest of our life, we have that opportunity to continue to become more self-aware, to continue to become more courageous, to continue to show up in powerful ways and give and serve at higher levels. So I just find that those entrepreneurs and the ones that are at that level, they're committed to doing that, right? They're committed to doing that. And if they're sustaining their companies, you know, the ones that I'm working with, I'm making sure that they're also committed to serving their clients. And they've got their, this also comes back to being JV ready. Like when I was first starting out, I was taking all of the wrong clients, which I wouldn't say wrong because I was learning and I was getting very clear on what to do and what not to do and who to take on as clients. Because for just this aspect of being JV ready, it's like, if you haven't figured out a clear value proposition, it's not time to get a JV partner. If you haven't figured out how to optimize your sales funnel, meaning step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 30, and how that works and works together, and that you're making sure that you don't have any big gaps. You're making sure that it's seamless for the customer journey and that it's optimized and that it converts well. If you don't have those things in place, it's really not the best time to bring on a joint venture partner because you're not doing the partner, you're doing the partner a disservice because they're going to put their reputation on the line. They're going to put their the loyalty and the trust of their audience and their customers on the line. And they're going to go out there and they're going to be promoting you. They're going to be singing your praises. And then you might not be able to deliver. And the impact won't be there and the profit, and the investment over time. It's going to be a frustrating process for all parties. And so you really want to make sure if you're starting to, it's like pouring fuel on your marketing activities. You don't do that until you test and tweak and optimize and make sure those conversions are there. Make sure that you have salespeople ready to pick up the calls and have those conversations. Otherwise, it's just going to be a frustrating experience for the people involved.
Right. Wow. And what I'm thinking, because some of our listeners may be thinking, well, I'm not at this level, and how does it apply to me?
Yes, I think part of that is like transparency. So letting them know, hey, let's put this out to your list of, like, let's segment your list of 1 million and segment it to 10,000 people because I can handle that. And I've got something of incredible value. And maybe we segment your list of 1 million people and we just do 10 different offerings spread out throughout the year so that us as my company can serve them at the highest levels and make sure that we're touching everybody that we need to touch and answering their questions, and that it's a very beautiful process for that customer. So maybe like it's about having integrity and showing up with authenticity and not being scared to say, I've got this stuff worked out, but I'm kind of struggling here. So because of that, let's approach it in this way. Or because of that, let's not do this kind of promotion. Let's stick with this single live event, pack the room, and I'll be able to serve those 100 people versus put me on a webinar in front of 100,000 people. I'm not going to be able to handle that kind of volume, those kind of things.
So knowing yourself, where you're at, having humility, and seeing where your deficiencies are, but also where your strengths are, and really being very strategic about that.
Absolutely, because everybody has. If you're in business and you're differentiating yourself and you're offering something that's unique, you have something valuable to offer. And it's like you said, being humble and knowing where your strengths are, and then setting up those kind of partnerships, those kind of joint ventures for that specific lane, for that specific thing.
Wow. So this is something that, I think they can apply to anybody, not on a very high level of income only, but actually,
absolutely.
Everybody who is trying to do something of service in the world, and we are all, we all have our own niche and our own mission. And that, I think that is extremely valuable, what you're bringing forth, and And thank you also for sharing the amazing strategies with the podcast, because that can be probably applied to any level of if we want to talk with people and if we want to present them to the public. It's like, how do we make it more of a valuable experience? Well, here we go. We got the steps.
Exactly.
So, and
I mean, this applies for Facebook Live. This applies for, you know, a whole number of things. And I mean, people don't have to do everything, but the more of these little pieces you put in place, the more fruitful it's going to be.
Yeah. Wow. This is outstanding. Thank you so much for all the you know, all those pieces and nuggets of incredible value and information that you bring in. Really appreciate that. Yes. So I know. So we really merging. We're talking about the podcast and we're talking about the joint ventures, and I can see how this really is a part of the one vision for you, and how it beautifully it merges together. Is there something that, you know, you're looking into the future in terms of your podcast, or you know, any other projects that you wanted to talk about?
You know, I mean, I'm very happy with what I shared as far as my business and for the podcast. Yeah, so that covers a lot. But I would like to just touch on a few different types of joint ventures and give a few examples, just to kind of, because it can feel like you're like grasping for like, how do I like bring it down for me, what I'm doing here today?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we mentioned, I think earlier, was a JV webinar. And so essentially that is getting on Zoom, that is getting on GoToMeeting, that is taking two people that have complementary things. And like I said, who serves your client before, after, or during, right? So if this is in the online world, if you're a coach and you offer how to teach people how to get on stage, well, maybe you can have somebody else come along and teach them how to get booked on stage, or teach them how to develop a backend program, like a membership site, after they see them on stage. So those two can work together. They can do a JV webinar together, and then both of their audiences get served from that. So that's one type. There's something called a list swap. So this means email list. And this is, again, like all the things that I've said before apply to each of these things. You want to make sure that there's synchronicity, that you're aligned with your culture and your tone and those kind of things, that they're not like a 1,000,000 person lists with a 1,000 person list, those kind of things, or if that is the case, segment the list off to the ones that make most sense to you. So a list swap, where you promote their offer to your audience and they promote your solution to their audience. So you're swapping lists. There's also a thank you page. So say they sell their $1,000 coaching program, and on the thank you page, they can just drive in even more value and even more ability to get great results with that program by offering your maybe $97 program that absolutely complements what they're doing. And so now you've got people that are buyers, that are excited to implement what they just purchased, and they go, oh yeah, I am missing that piece over there about how to do Facebook Lives and how people show up to my audience. So then that makes sense. There's online challenges and sweepstakes to gain extra. So you're not even selling anything in these. You're just giving complete and total value, and you're both growing your audience because of it. So you take the heroic identity of person A and person B, you bring them together, and you both use your marketing genius to promote that and get people to share and talk about that and get engaged, and everybody benefits from that. There is email welcome series, and so when you sign up on someone's website, you get their free ebook or something like that, or a free part video series. As part of that initial email welcome series, maybe that's 6 emails long, you know, 1 or 2 emails within there, you can promote somebody else in that industry that is serving that same audience, where they offer something of high value. There is the resources page, like I talked about, and the podcast, which I talked about as well. And this is something like, so say you don't have a podcast, but you know Monica, and you go, oh my gosh, there's this person that would be absolutely perfect for your audience, and they've got this amazing stuff to offer. Monica, I need to introduce you to, you know, Jason, right? So you can leverage the influence and the audience of other people that you're close to, and as long as you're coming with that intention of high value and those kind of things. And then say that person goes onto Monica's podcast or Monica's YouTube Live, and you know, they end up talking about their product or their service or their coaching or whatever it is, and they end up getting customers from that. you can have a prearranged relationship with that person, and just they offer a referral back to you, or those kind of things. Live events would be another one. So it's a little bit tough right now, so they're virtual events right now. But live events, you can give them time on stage. So if it's a sponsor, it could be like a sponsor spotlight, or maybe it's like a keynote, or they're teaching like a hands-on training class, those kind of things. So you can have people on your stages. You can offer intimate dinners. So say you offer software or productivity tools for medical doctors, where you can offer an intimate dinner with those, your best customers, and you can bring in a business consultant that helps medical doctors to, scale and grow their practice, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
There's also just 2 more ideas for you, which would be fundraising events. So you can bring for a specific cause, a specific charity, and you can bring in local entrepreneurs that can give these high value gifts for the silent auctions. So these entrepreneurs can now, there's something called the halo effect, where when you tie yourself with a charity or cause, your perceived desirability and value increases in the eyes of the consumer, the eyes of the potential clients. And so if you get that effect, they can mingle with the guests and their potential ideal customers, and form other relationships with other people that are at that event as well. And the last one I was kind of talking about, which is you can, if you are brand new, you don't have a company, you don't know where to start, but you know somebody that has a lot of relationship capital. So they know a lot of influencers, they know a lot of great organizations, they have a really strong connection with those people. You can partner with them and let them know, well, I will help to bring strategic partnerships that would be ideal for those influencers or those companies. And you make those introductions, and we will share in any commissions or any referral fees that are earned from that. So you don't even need your own audience, you don't even need your own product or service. You can actually go through somebody that you know and trust and love, and that loves you, and work it that way.
Wow. This is incredibly helpful. Everybody can, because we can implement it on different scales. I can
Absolutely.
imagine, right? We can implement it on a really small scale. We can implement it on a a big corporation scale, and it still works. Yes. Obviously with appropriate application. But wow, thank you so much for this. I know that this is going to be of huge value to people who listen. So that's your gift of offering your expertise is huge.
Thank you.
And you're just being so generous. It's incredible. I think the generosity, and being able to always look for how do I offer value and how do I serve, then it brings you incredible benefits. And that it furthers your business. So, so something, as a bottom line, and just you showing that, because you've been successful within this model. And so you are the living proof of yes, coming from this perspective and coming from this mindset really produces results. It's not just kind of talk, it's actual action, and these are actual results.
Yeah, like the big companies, they do this all day long. They do it all day long. Like they're when you go into certain websites and stuff like that, you see their product offerings for other companies, other things. They cross-sell, upsell. Like it's just, when you start to dig into some of the bigger companies like Amazon and just the big organizations, they are growing through partnering.
Wow. Yes. And then we can also do it on a smaller scale. And I think that's where sometimes people wonder, it's like, oh, am I actually valuable enough to do that? But we all do have value to offer if we.
And
wow.
I have some like actual examples of
yes,
maybe some more like brick and mortar kind of businesses or sole entrepreneur kind of businesses of how they could start to think of okay, I could see how this would work. So a couple examples of that are wedding photographers. And I know all of this is a little bit shifted right now because of quarantine, but we will be getting out of this and we will be getting back to normal. Actually, for photographers, I've heard of people doing drive-by photography. So you actually don't have to be that close. So that is a unique way that people are still doing photography and serving their clients and having that 6 foot distance still. So that's very interesting. Okay, so wedding photographers, you could partner with someone that's a fitness trainer that specifically works with brides to do boot camps to help them get back into shape before their wedding so that they can look beautiful and fit in a wedding gown. So that is a joint venture. There is like cabinet makers, so custom cabinet makers for our homes. They could partner with granite countertop installers, or they could partner with hardwood flooring installers, because they're serving the same customer. If they're fixing up their cabinets to make their kitchen look beautiful, most likely they might want the countertop to look beautiful as well. So that's like one that really is a close alignment. Real estate. I've always liked this example. I haven't ever spoke to anybody that has done this, but for real estate, you could offer to do a welcome party for any of your customers that buys a new home. So when they move into that neighborhood, they move in and they're all settled, you as the real estate agent could offer to do a block party for that, for the new homeowners, so that they get to meet all of their neighbors. Their neighbors fall in love with them because they're having this party. They get to enjoy this food and hang out together and have a good time. And then at that party, you actually invite other people that would serve homeowners. Like you invite landscapers, you invite interior designers, you invite plumbers, you know, and so you invite the best of the best in that local area. You throw a party, like you guys split the cost of throwing a party. You all show up and you mingle with your ideal clients, and you come out of that with such goodwill for that neighborhood. The person that buys the new home feels fantastic. They refer you new business, and you walk out of that most likely with some clients, either now or in the future. So these are all like, and I guess one more would be a hair salon or a barbershop. You could partner with a local craft beer company that supplies a free bottle of beer for any gentleman that's getting their hair cut and styled and stuff like that. And so now that person goes, oh, this hair barbershop is awesome. I'm only going to come here, and I want to check out this local craft company because how awesome is that they give me a free beer. And you could also partner with like artists, hang art on the wall that's for sale. And my friend Vanessa Hollenbach also took this a step further. She is partnering a barbershop with a local custom furniture company to actually furnish the barbershop and have those pieces for sale, so that it's like just another level of showcasing, a company that maybe they would never heard of.
Wow. These are brilliant ideas. I mean, fantastic, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, oh yes, yeah, I love to get my haircut done. I feel so good and happy.
Exactly. And these are like sole proprietors, or they're like brick and mortars. Like they're like that first level of like, who else is serving my customers, and what would be really cool and awesome experience for them? How can I partner?
So, wow, thank you so much, Alithia, for that. This is huge. I mean, and you just kind of, I think that it can sparkle imagination, because we can,
absolutely,
we can be creative. Do you have, if you were to offer anything for our listeners in terms of, where can we find help in looking for those kind of ideas and inspiration and, action steps to implement joint ventures?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, even from what we talked about today, you can just start brainstorming. If you think about like to start your own joint ventures and those kind of things, you can just start brainstorming. Okay, is it my company I want to promote, or is it somebody else's? Okay, step one. Okay, if it's mine, great. You know that inside and out. That's awesome. Or if it's somebody else's, who's it going to be? Like, it's easiest if you go with people that you know. So it's easiest if it's like, oh, it's my best friend Bob. We went to high school together. We went to college together. Our kids see each other for play dates. He loves me. He believes and trusts in me, and I know he would let me get him more business. Right? Those are much easier to start with. Is people that you know in relationships that you know. Again, always go for something of incredible high value, high quality, high integrity. Someone that you actually want to do business with, that you're not going to get into trouble with as far as just ethics and different things like that. So that's first, is just like lock down one side of it, like product or service, those kind of things. Or the other side, do I know, am I somebody that has a large audience, or do I know somebody that is an influencer and has like 1 million followers, or is someone that has like 1,000 super engaged and loyal customers? So you want to find one side of the puzzle, and then you go through a lot of the stuff that we talked about, which is, okay, who's serving them before, during, or after? Who would make a great complementary? If they're getting their hair done, do they need their makeup? Like what else would make this a great experience for that customer? And then you start to make sure that there's a match for culture, a match for, you know, personality and mission and those kind of things, so that the feel for their clientele is the same and stuff like that. They're not hearing these two very drastic voices and personas and stuff like that. And then you can decide on what type of, like, you go and approach those two parties, make sure that you lock in both of those sides. You yourself, you get compensated for doing this. So anywhere from like 5%, actually I've had down to 1%. One of my deals that I was working on was finding $100 million in funding for a resort in the Bahamas. And for that, I was offered 1%, which was perfect because that was still $1 million. So that one fell through, so it didn't come through. So like the percentage are vary, because I know some people like, I will only work for 20% or I will only work for 25%. Well, it starts to change when you start doing deals that are 100,000, 500,000. You know, you need to be flexible then. And you also need to know how involved are you going to be? Like, is this just straight, am I going to introduce these two parties? That's it. I'm done. They're going to take it from there, which is completely okay to start with. Like, if you're just getting your feet involved, like you're just starting to step into this, completely okay to just be a straight referral and let those two parties figure out the details. Or you can be more involved and you can show up to the meetings, you can have that kind of JV hat on and think of the different strategies and different ways that they could work together. You can manage the personalities and, you know, work through conflicts with them and just stand in like the place of both parties and represent both of them, making sure that it's a fair deal and those kind of things. Keep following up, keep moving that deal forward, keep adding value, those kind of things. The more you do, the more they're going to want to reward you, and the more that you're going to feel good about receiving those higher commissions for those kind of things. And then, you know, you reach out, you lock those in, and then you start to craft, okay, you can even get involved if you have the skill for it and you want to do this, you can even help them craft the marketing, right? Like, how are we going to introduce this to our audience? How are we going to introduce this to the marketplace? You can get very involved, and you can almost step into like a consulting marketing role as well, which can be a whole other separate fee and separate arrangements. So those are some of the kind of things to start looking at and considering when you want to do it yourself.
Wow. Okay, that is so much to actually, so much to take from all your presentations. I think, you know, you can, for the audience, you know, we can take parts of it, but just remembering the basic, you know, the basic, I think what I'm getting from you is that, you know, being in integrity, being in service, knowing your boundaries and understanding, you know, who is the real match for me, and not allowing yourself to just fall for working with whoever, you know, because you want to make sure that you can collaborate with this person, that you're on, you know, on the same playing field, on the same level, and with aligned values. And that's what's really coming through, you know, just having that longer, bigger picture always in mind. That feels like, you know, it's crucial. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Thank you. I mean, you've offered so much. I'm just beyond grateful for all that you're sharing with us, Alithia.
And I'm grateful that I had this opportunity to be able to share this, because it's like, it's stuff you can do right now. It's stuff you can do in quarantine. Yes. It's stuff you can do if your business closed down. It's stuff you can do if your job, if you lost your job. It's you can just take a little piece of this and just start working that.
Absolutely. Yes. So is there anything, you know, that you want to share with the audience that you want us to, you know, to take away from this presentation, from this interview?
You know, just to recognize that even what we talked about today, you are so much further ahead than a lot of entrepreneurs, than a lot of business owners. Like, even what we talked about today, even if you just took one thing, one thing, and you go, okay, I'm just going to wrap my head around this. I'm just going to figure out who on either side would benefit from this and make a good match from this. And I'm just going to have some conversations. Like, it does no harm to have conversations when you're coming at it from a place of love, integrity, wanting to add value, wanting to help them during this quarantine. I mean, people are going to appreciate you thinking of them and you wanting to help.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Yes. So, I mean, is there a way for people to get into, you know, to maybe get in touch with some of more of your resources that you are willing to share, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we're pretty busy ourselves with our one-on-one clients, but we do, my husband has co-authored a book with the gentleman
All right.
who's certified through.
Perfect.
And so they can go to sonomajvpartners.com.
Okay, we'll post that.
And it's /our gift to you, and there's dashes in between.
Okay.
So it's sonomajvpartners.com /our gift to you.
Great. Fantastic. I'm going to post that in the comments so that you guys can look into that. Thank you so much for offering that. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, I mean, Alithia, this has been incredible, and all the tips and ideas and the bigger picture that you're offering, because I think you managed to bring the bigger picture together with really practical steps and ideas, and encouraging everybody to even start with one little thing that we can do right now, which is huge. And that's truly empowering.
Absolutely.
So,
and it can change your whole trajectory of your life. Like just
yes.
There's one shift in your mind, that one action, that one phone call, that one conversation.
Well, thank you so much. I am full of gratitude, and I'm wishing you just continuous successes with everything that you do, and just amazing launch of your podcast. And thanks, and have a beautiful rest of Sunday. And thank you for your time today. Appreciate it so much.
It has been just such a pleasure. You are just so easy to talk to, and you just got such a beautiful heart, but you've got such a great business sense about you as well. And you just are an example of someone that leads with service, right? You are taking your time to think about who would be great for your audience, what would be great content for them to hear. I mean, it takes a lot of work, and sometimes it can be a very thankless role to play. And I just want to thank you for having me on, for introducing me to your audience, and for taking the time to do all of this.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate those words, and beautiful. Well, everybody have a beautiful day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.